Okay, let's go ahead and wrap our heads around what's coming our way. Now, within the last 24 hours, and this is Tuesday morning when I'm recording this, folks, we had a pretty decent storm that moved in overnight. You know, in any given year, this would be a classic winter storm. We saw some valley rain, some decent winds, some Sierra snow, very strong winds up high as well. And then it cleared on out for early Tuesday morning. And now we're getting ready for bigger storms down the road. So just for some perspective, I would call a classic winter storm anywhere from ½ an inch to an inch of valley rain. And that's exactly what we saw, somewhere in between for most spots, adding to the rainfall totals, which have been very quickly moving on up. And we're just going to see more and more in the days ahead. Now, some of you have asked, I want a season total, not compared to average, but a season total. And, you know, San Jose is where the airport is. It's very rain shadowed, so it doesn't look like that much. But everywhere around Silicon Valley, we're talking 10 inches plus for some of those spots. Modesto normally gets about 13 inches of rain. You're at 8.5. And again, we're going to be adding more to that. Stockton between 17 and 18 inches of rain, 10.3. Sacramento's hovering right around 9.5. We easily have gone past 10 at this point, and we keep going. Sacramento usually gets between 18 and 19 inches of rain per year. So we're doing okay for rain. And then you take a look at the reservoirs, Folsom and Millerton, which is down by Fresno, you know, we're way above average. They're dumping water out, and before you write that email, they're doing that because they have to make space. These are relatively small reservoirs, and when the last atmospheric rivers nailed these spots in particular, they filled up fast. So at this point, they're making room for future storms and future runoffs so that everything downstream on the American River or for Millerton, basically Fresno, does not flood. They're used for flood protection this time of the year. Shasta and Oroville are much bigger, 4 times bigger, if not more, and they are getting closer to average, except for Shasta. So there is some room there. But again, with a storm pattern like this, even those big reservoirs will see a big spike with the incoming rain. Now, one of the major problems that we saw with the last round of rain was along the Cosumnes River. And really, one of the reasons why is that it's the largest undammed watershed in the state of California. For all these other ones, Folsom, there's a dam, that's for the American River. And then we've got all these other dams used for flood control, then water retention for recreation and irrigation. The Cosumnes is free flowing, and there's some benefits. You can actually have a free-flowing river system, which is rare in California, so there's an ecological benefit. But when there's a lot of water all at once, you tend to see rapid rises along the Cosumnes, and you can see flooding, and that's exactly what we saw with the last round. With that said, the rest of your Tuesday really is storm prep day because we've got highs in the 50s with clouds, and that's about it. The next system is taking shape right now, and you're starting to see the signs of life of a strong system. A lot of cold air diving down. It's found plenty of moisture. It's going to wind up and aim it right at Northern California. This kind of scenario is when we get heavy rain, heavy snow, and often quite strong winds as well. And that's going to take place during the day on your Wednesday. We call this an atmospheric river because the amount of water contained in this, even though it's water vapor, which is water in the air, can be as much as 25 times the actual water contained in, say, the Mississippi River. So it doesn't make sense to your mind, but the bottom line is this is a lot of water that is headed toward Northern California for round one. Then we've got another one coming in through the weekend, not as strong, but still impactful. Another one coming in on Monday, and then even more after that. The bottom line is that we are in the middle of a very wet pattern that will continue. So the flooding risk that's been there continues, and then we add more flooding risk with the storms ahead. Watch out with this Wednesday storm. We've got some rain in the morning, then Wednesday night, it really ramps up with very heavy rain all at once. That means localized flooding, and then the wind peaks at that time. This area in brown is something called a high wind watch. It should be a warning tomorrow, meaning that it's going to happen, but we'll wait a little bit before they switch that over. In the morning, pretty gusty winds. They get stronger and stronger and stronger. And when it all comes together with the heaviest rain on saturated ground, which is soft, and then you throw in gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, if not stronger, Wednesday night from the south to the north, that's when we could see widespread power outages, if not before. The thing to remember about this is that think about where you live, think about where you work, think about where you park your car or take walks. If you're going to be anywhere, or some of those things are going to be anywhere where a large tree would fall to the north, that's where you, if you can, move it. If you're in a house or apartment, you can't, but that's something to be aware of, that most tall trees will fall to the north with the south winds that are coming in. There's your Wednesday storm, and again, just highlighting very few gaps in between. That becomes a major flooding risk when you just add in storm after storm with very few breaks. That's a problem. Trust me on that. As far as what we're going to see as well, and I have not spent a lot of time on this, but just know in the mountains with this Wednesday storm, it'll be a little warm in the middle, but it will end with at least a couple feet of snow between Wednesday and Thursday. Just to highlight this one more time, we've seen a lot of rain. We've seen a lot of snow. We've seen strong damaging winds and power outages already, and now we're getting ready to do it again for the next 7 to 10 days. We are the hotspot for the entire West Coast. We're going to have some benefits like water, but there are some downsides like damaging wind, flooding risk, and a bunch of other things as well. So please pay attention to the forecast in the coming days and week ahead because we are right in the middle of this.